Alright guys, so today is the day we're finally gonna install the AFE power cold air intake in the Trackhawk. I've had this thing in my freaking garage for like 2 or 3 weeks now. Just didn't have the time to get it installed. So we're gonna get that done today. I already unboxed it a little bit. I just wanted to see what's in here. I didn't unwrap all this packaging. But before we install it, of course, we need to do a comparison to see if this thing actually makes a difference. They say supposedly it's supposed to make like a 35 horsepower difference just by installing this without a tune. I'm doing it more just because the supercharger sounds a lot better with the cold air intake. I've done the leg makers a bunch of times. I haven't tried out these AFE power ones. This thing was really expensive. It was like 800 bucks, but shout out to them. They gave me like a $75 discount, not a 75%. So we are at the testing location where I always come. We're gonna do like a drive-by, and we'll do one inside the car too, just to see how it sounds before we do. And you know, we got the mid-muffler delay too. They say when you install a cold air intake, you start to hear the exhaust like pop a little bit more when you're downshifting. So we're gonna see if that's true. Like I said, we're gonna do one of just driving on the inside of the car, see how it sounds before we replace it, and do one drive-by and see what the difference is gonna be. All right, so here's how it sounds inside of the car. To be honest, after I did the mid-muffler delete, the muffler noise is kind of it's a lot louder than the intake. So you hear a lot more just when you're in lower gear. So we'll do second gear. So even then you can barely hear it. The exhaust is just way too loud. So I'm gonna set up the camera outside. I got my other Sony with me. I'm gonna put on one of these corners and I'll do a drive-by of just flooring it all the way down and see how it sounds. All right, so I'm gonna do one more thing, and I'm gonna I have my tripod at the house, so once we get there I'll set it up and then we'll do a couple revs under the hood so you can hear how it sounds. Other than that, I can't, of course, I can't tell how it sounds from the outside until I rewatch the video. So there's a lot of videos on YouTube on how to install them on like the 2018s and the 2019s. But for I think it was 2020 or 21, this one was the 21, they added some kind of, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a small canister with a plug on it, and it goes right to the intake. And it has like it's a welded plastic nut, so you can't really break it off. You gotta cut it off with the razor blade, and I'll show you guys how to do that when we install it. So it takes a little more time to get it done, but just follow what I'm gonna do, and it's pretty easy, just step by step, and you get it through. All right, so I made it back to the garage. Now we're gonna do a quick startup and rev of the factory box, see how it sounds. I got the other camera set up right over here. That should be just fine. We'll do a couple revs, see how it sounds, and then get the new one installed, which is still in the trunk. I'll get that down, we'll go through the parts that are in it, and we'll get started on install. All right, so here's what we got in the packaging. You got the filter, you got the carbon piece. This thing looks really nice finish to it. And then you got the box itself, which the filter will go through. And then you got this hose. They call this thing in the instruction manual, they call it a MUA, whatever that stands for. What they're referring to is this thing over here. I thought it was like an oil separator at first, because it goes to one of the valves, valve bodies or valve covers. But as you can see, they got these like plastic welds on there, so you gotta kind of scrape it off with the razor. You don't want to break this thing. This thing, I think it's like 1,400 bucks, and you can't just buy this by itself. You gotta buy the whole air box complete with this. So we'll use a razor blade to cut this off, and then we have to reinstall this on here. And I think it comes with screws inside this hardware kit. I'll open this up in a second, and then we'll reinstall this to that, and then everything should fit together. Simple, easy. But here are the instructions. I kind of skipped through it. Pretty self-explanatory. You got the box, filter go through the box, you got the can itself, and then the tubes and the clamps. I already installed this part, the rubber seal to the box, and let's get started. So first things first, you're going to unplug all your electrical. You got your lock on there, press down on the tab, unplug that, and then this thing over here, you'll press on them at the same time, and that thing will come off just like that. You got another electrical connector here. This is for the air temp sensor, and then just use a flathead to unscrew that, loosen it up. And then what you want to do is, I don't think you have enough room to take off the box with the lower piece, so you got to unscrew all these bolts for the top lid, take that off with the hose, and then take the bottom piece off separately. All right, so here's what I'm using, just a regular flathead. Loosen that up. You don't have to unscrew this all the way, just where it's loose enough to slide off the throttle body. So that should be good. Just gotta break the seal off. And then I have my my power tools, but I don't have a bit that's long enough to reach down here, so I'll just undo these by hand. You got 1, 2, there's 2 on that side and 2 on this side, so 4 in total. Loosen them up. These you have to go pretty far out because they go into the lower box. Once those are loose, we'll take this whole thing off, and I'll show you how to take this thing off of it and install it onto the new one. So never mind, I was able to save some time. I found me an extension with a Phillips head, and I unscrewed all those screws. I left this one in there because it was enough to clear the box. So now this whole thing's gonna lift up, make sure everything is disconnected. I got this one out of the way, the throttle body plug, just so the seal could break loose on that. And now we should, oh, you gotta slide it backwards. So see how the tabs go through the bottom piece? So slide it back, and that's it. That's your whole top piece over there. And now the bottom piece doesn't have any screws. There's just grommets. I'll show you how it looks in a second. They're just grommets in there that hold it down. And all you gotta do is kind of shine it really hard, and it'll come off. And that's it. That's how you remove the box on a 21 Trackhawk Durango. Most of the newer cars have the same setup. Now we're gonna install the new one. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the filter through the tube, the canister, whatever you want to call this thing, and I'm gonna tighten this down last. So just in case I have to make adjustments, I'm gonna save all my factory stuff just in case I want to reinstall it, and we'll see how this goes. So next up, you want to remove this piece. It goes right over here, and there's 2 clips that hold in place. I forgot to record this part, but pop those off with one of these trim tools. This comes out of the way. And then there's another clip that goes on top. Also, use your trim tool, take that off. And then you wanna take the grommets off the factory box and then put it onto this AFE one. That way, inside of here, you got those studs. And this thing will just sit flush right in there. Just like this. Let me see if I can get this one hand. There's 1, there's 2, and this last one over here is kind of tight. So I'm gonna drop this down for a second, and then this will go through here, and then you'll reinstall this clip right through that hole. And that's how it's gonna look once everything is settled down. I mean, it does look like OEM. Everything fits really nice, and it sits really clean. Now I'm gonna show you how to remove whatever the hell this thing is called. I got myself a razor blade, and that's how it looks once you pop them off. And then this thing should just pry right off. And then we got 3 more. That's that, and then 1 more over here. That's it. Now this piece over here, you gotta be gentle with it. You don't want to snap this piece. It should just pop right off according to the instruction manual. So these are lifted, and that's it. That's all you gotta do. Now we're gonna transfer it over here. They give you a hose that goes to this bottom piece. It goes from right over here. This is the hose, and you'll install it to this piece, which goes to the throttle body, just like that. So we'll go from here to here using this hose. So I'm gonna do that now, and then we'll install our tube, carbon fiber tube, get everything bolted down with the clamps. This is a clamp for the filter. As you can see, I got the filter in there. It only goes in one way, so you can't get that wrong. and get everything done and give it a first start, see how it sounds. That's the final product right over there. It looks really nice with this carbon look. I did screw up one thing, the clamp that goes around the air filter. I don't know how, man, but this thread got kind of stripped, so it's not screwing it down all the way. I tried to find a replacement bolt, but I didn't have nothing like that in my toolbox, so I'm probably gonna order another clamp from AFE, and then once that comes in, I'll install it so this air filter doesn't come off. But I'm gonna give it a start up, see how it sounds, and give it a couple revs, and then we'll take it down the road and see if we notice the difference from inside the car. So now we're gonna do another test after we install the intake and see how it sounds on the inside. Honestly, just by driving here, I can already notice the difference. It's not super loud because the exhaust is obnoxious, just by having a mid muffler delete, but you for sure notice the difference. I thought that was a cop. All right, let's try it out. I don't know if you can see it on, hear it on camera, man. Way better. Let's see how it sounds with the downshifts. I'll put it in track mode. Let's put it in track. Just like that. That way we can hold the gears. I'll put it in second. Yes, sir. Guys, so that's going to be it for today's video. I'm also going to add an extra clip. If you watched it this far, I raced a Lamborghini Urus yesterday and I literally blew his doors up. He thought I was modded. I'm like, no bro, I'm literally stock. I just had and this is before I even installed the air intake. I just had my mid muffler delete on, and it wasn't even fair. I was so surprised. I thought he was going to beat me. So I'm going to add that right after this clip and you guys can watch that. There was 2 races. We went back and forth and I beat him twice. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Hit that like button to support the channel, and I'll see you back on the next one. You ready?
3, 2, 1.
Come on, Grant! Come on!
1.